Hi Madison, my name is Brianna Marie Dulock, and today we will be doing a Q&A, so let's get started. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I'm Puerto Rican on my mom's side and Croatian on my dad's, and I have been singing since 7 years old. I started singing in church, and once I got a little bit older, I joined a professional children's choir called Anima Singers. It was based in Glen Ellen, Illinois. And we would perform at various events in Chicago. We sang with the Chicago Symphony Orchestra and with the Grant Park Symphony Orchestra, and we even toured to Greece, where I had a few solos from Ravel's 5 Greek folk songs, and it was a great experience growing up. So here I am now. I think that's mostly my background. I can't really think of anything else that's relevant. My decision to become a singer happened around my freshman year, actually. I had gone through all the audition process in high school to be a vocal performance major, but my intention was to also do pre-med and eventually go to med school and be a doctor. However, when I got to Carnegie Mellon, I was given the Rejoice Greatly solo from Handel's Messiah, which I was surprised because I didn't even audition for it, and it's a big sing, and I was very excited. And when I performed it on stage, I just loved the feeling of being with an orchestra and making music. And my family came up to me and said, you know, Brianna, if you want a career in music, we see your talent and we know that you can do it. And that approval was really all I needed to just kind of be like, I'm done, I'm not doing pre-med, and I'm just gonna focus on singing. And from there, I just did what I love, and now I'm an opera singer. So my experience at Carnegie Mellon University was actually a pretty good one. I made a best friend for life. Her name is Daniela Brancato, and she's also an opera singer. She's my best friend from undergrad, and we did a few performances together. We were in Così together. I was Dorabella and she was Fioreligi, and we were also in La Finta Giardiniera together our junior year. I was Ramiro, and we just sang a lot together, and we grew a close relationship, and she's definitely someone that is really important to me. And all the singing experience I had at Carnegie Mellon really prepared me for being at Mannes now and being in New York. I was very fortunate to be given a lot of lead roles in undergrad and really experience Mozart in a way that a lot of people probably don't have the privilege to do. So I'm very glad that I went to Carnegie Mellon, and I had a wonderful voice instructor there, and it was great. It was a great experience overall, I would say. Next question, my funniest experience singing. I think that has to be when Daniela and I were in Finta. We were in a performance and I was backstage, and I saw Daniela. There was a staging part where she had to hit a bell, like a bell that's in like a boxing ring, and she hit it with like the little hammer, and the little hammer went flying off the stage, and my mom saw it and she was cracking up laughing, and I was dying. I was trying not to make too much noise backstage, so that was pretty funny. More recently in Lysistrata, one of my friends, her bracelet like fell off and like went flying into the pit, and it was scary in the moment, but it's funny now looking back on it. So those are all some very funny things that occur. That was during a dress rehearsal, luckily. The easiest and most difficult part of being a singer. I would say the easiest part is the fact that I every day wake up and do what I love. I love singing, and it's my passion, and I can't imagine having a 9-to-5 or doing a job that I don't care about just because, you know, it's the safer option. That at the end of the day, I know that I'm going through life happy and doing exactly what I'm passionate about, and that's performing and making music and being in a collaborative environment in operas, and it's exactly what I love to do. So that is an easy thing, is that the passion's there. The most difficult part is probably just how much work it really is. I think that a lot of people think, oh, you're a singer, how much work can it actually be? But it's very draining emotionally and physically at times. You know, rehearsals are very, very long, very strenuous. The amount of music I learn consistently is a lot. Having jobs back to back, there's not a lot of break for a singer, just in general, but also during the day. There's a lot of go, 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 and there's rarely any downtime, and so that can be very stressful, and it can be hard to manage, especially when it comes to taking care of yourself. It can be hard to find time to eat or sleep right. So those are all difficult parts of being a singer, and it can be very, very stressful, and I think that's just because I'm really hard on myself, but I can get very stressed out when it comes to performing. But when I'm there on that stage and I'm singing and I'm doing what I love, it's all worth it. It really is. So it's definitely a little bit more difficult than I think I realized growing up, but it is so worth it. You have to work really hard to be a singer, but if it's what you love, then you make it work. A day in my life. A day in my life, it depends on what I'm doing. If I'm in an opera, then what it looks like is I wake up, I get ready for the day, I get some coffee, and I go to whatever classes I have. Depends on the day, I might have more or less classes. I'll get lunch in school. If I go home, I might get lunch there, but usually because of rehearsals, I'll stay at school, and then I'll have rehearsals for a few hours, and then I'll come back home, and I'll eat dinner, plan out my outfit for the next day, look at some music, practice whatever it was that I needed to practice for that day. And then if I'm not in an opera, then I'll usually practice during the day. It just depends on what's going on. But it's a lot of class, rehearsal, practicing, looking at music, a lot of that. What makes me laugh the most? I would say probably my boyfriend makes me laugh the most. He's just silly. He just makes me laugh. Like, he just says like silly things, and we have like kind of like our own little language. Like we made up words and we'll use them, and I think they're funny. So a superpower I would like to have, I think if I could control time, my life would be a million times easier. Like, if I could stop time, slow it down, speed it up, go forward, go backward, my life would be immensely easier. That would be my ideal superpower, truly. I could get so much more done in the day. I feel like 24 hours is never enough in the day. I think that would be wonderful. So, to travel to the past or to the future, I was thinking about this, and I think I'd rather go to the past. Not because there aren't things to learn from the future, but I would just like to learn from the greats before me. I think that if I could go see like Pavarotti, like perform live, or like some of the great opera singers that we know and love, like to see them perform live, I think would give me a more in-depth understanding of singing. I feel like singing nowadays has kind of branched into different paths and different schools of thought. But I think that the golden age of singing has like a very special sound to it, technique that I would like to emulate. So I think going and seeing that and learning from them would help me be a better artist today. It's kind of hard when it feels so removed. Even with recordings on YouTube and whatnot of people singing, like it's not the same as being in a house, hearing their resonance and experiencing it live. So, because I know I sound very different over a recording than I do in real life. So, yeah, I would like to go to the past. My biggest accomplishment so far, honestly, I think that it was being in Lysistrata. I was recently in Lysistrata at Manus Opera, and I played Mirani, and it was the hardest role of my life. It was extremely difficult, strenuous, rehearsals were hard. The cast and the artistic team were wonderful. It was amazing working with them. I was just having a difficult time with the role, and I would cry frequently about it. I was very stressed. The leading up to the performances was emotionally and physically, I think, the hardest time of my life thus far. Just because for the first time ever, I felt like I couldn't do it, which was a hard realization to have, was feeling like I couldn't do it. That was not true, obviously, because I did. But I think that that's why it's my biggest accomplishment, is because I doubted myself and I worked that much harder and I made something I'm actually really proud of. I think it's the best I've sounded. It's my best singing. The acting I felt was also some of my best work, and I'm really proud of what I put up on that stage. And I think being able to meet Mark Adamo and work with him was also really amazing, because I had been, I'd obviously heard of him and heard of Little Women, and I actually sang Things Change Joe for my grad school auditions, and Things Change Joe is from Little Women, and so I really admired his work, and to be able to actually meet with him and work with him and him see me perform a whole role from one of his operas was a really special experience, and I think I'll take that experience with me for a while. It definitely taught me a lot of amazing tools, and I think I feel a lot more confident when it comes to modern opera now. So thank you, Manus Opera, for giving me a shot and giving me Mirny. Do I know any other language besides English? Yes. ? Spanish is my mother's first language. I learned Spanish as I got older, but because I don't practice it a lot, I have forgotten how to speak a lot of it. I understand everything, so if anyone were to speak to me in Spanish, I would understand them perfectly, but I kind of trip over my words when I have to actually make a sentence in Spanish. So it wasn't always, I used to be way better at it, but now because I'm just at home and I'm not speaking Spanish regularly, it kind of has floated away, I suppose. So, yes, ? My role model. My singing role model would probably be Isabel Leonard. I love her singing, and she's a Hispanic opera singer, and I think that representation is really important, especially because of how successful she is. So I really admire her singing. It's beautiful. Hearing her live is amazing. But in general, my role model is probably my mother. She is the strongest person I know. She is the toughest of cookies I know. And without her, I think I would not be where I am. Like, she really taught me how to be a strong woman, and her support and her love is immense, and I could not do what I do without her love. I really couldn't. I also love my dad very much also. My mother is very strong. She's a strong woman, and I really admire that, and it helps remind me that I need to be a strong woman even when it's hard. So she is strong, so that's why she's my role model. My favorite song to listen to is either At Last by Etta James or Something's Got a Hold on Me by Etta James. It depends on the mood. At Last is a classic, but Something's Got a Hold on Me is also just like such a bop. To sing to, Non Più Mesta used to be my favorite thing to sing. I used to love to sing it. It felt great. But recently, I kind of feel really emotionally connected to Die Nacht by Brahms. I don't know, every time I sing it, I get like really emotional. But vocally I sound the best singing Lysistrata, like singing Peace Yes of Course, or My Lips Like So from Lysistrata. But that's not really my favorite to sing, just because it was very stressful. So it kind of reminds me of being stressed out. I like need to like step away from it, I think, before I start singing it again. I love it though, it's great. But I think Non Più Mesta or Die Nacht are my favorite to sing. My favorite movie, I think, is like Mission Impossible 4, like the one where he's in Dubai. Classic. I love all the Mission Impossible movies, are great. I love them all. It's a classic. Like, if you sit me down and say, Brianna, we're gonna watch Mission Impossible, I'd be like, great. This is my favorite activity. Like, any of them would be fine for me. I love them. Upcoming projects. I actually have a really exciting project coming up. I am going to be L'Enfant with Dickinson College. It's an outreach program in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. I leave on the 9th. And it's going to be about 2.5 weeks of work. And then I perform on the 22nd and 23rd of May. It's by Ravel. It's L'Enfant et les Sortilèges. Yeah, I've been in this opera twice already. This is my third time, and this is my first time being the title role, L'Enfant. I was the Dragonfly last time with Manus Opera in November. This was like fairly recently. And then in undergrad, we did L'Enfant right around COVID times, and it ended up getting canceled, but I was in the chorus for that. So I've been in this opera quite a bit, So I'm really excited to be an enfant at this point, and it'll be really fun to go and work. Like, I'm actually working, which is great because I've been in school, like undergrad or grad operas thus far. So this will be my first like opera, being hired to do. So I'm really excited, and it's a title role. So I'm excited. That's coming up. So I'll probably advertise it more later. I'm not there yet. So like once I'm in Carlisle, I'll probably start to be like, hey, I'm doing this thing. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. The message to you guys that I have is thank you so much for having me, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to just kind of talk about myself and talk about singing and what I love. I'm very passionate about singing, and I encourage everyone to enjoy performing or enjoy making art. You know, I think society kind of doesn't encourage a lot of professional art making, but we all consume art in one degree to another. And I think, someone's got to do it, and those are the people that are doing it for a living. So I think, if you consume art to any degree, which is everyone, because food, furniture, music that you listen to, art that you look at, whatever it is all consuming art. So, if you do and you find joy in pursuing it to some degree, then go for it, because somebody has to make it for us to be able to continue to enjoy these things. So, thank you again so much for having me and for just giving me this opportunity. So thank you guys. Mwah.